This hearing of the Committee on Agriculture entitled Derivatives Reform, the View from Main Street will come to an order. I want to thank all of you for being here today, and I'm especially like to thank Chairman Gensler for joining us today on our first panel. I'm grateful for all the witnesses on our second panel for taking time away from their businesses to be here also. This is our sixth hearing on Dodd-Frank implementation process, and we've heard from over 30 witnesses, including Chairman Gensler, on 3 different occasions. We've explored about every issue under our jurisdiction, and members of the committee from both sides of the aisle have raised concerns regarding the direction of many of the rules. We have listened carefully to the concerns from small banks and small businesses. We've learned how businesses on Main Street, the end users of derivatives, could be affected by proposed regulations. We've heard how organizations that played no role in the financial crisis could be subject to significant new regulations designed for the largest financial institutions. And Chairman Gensler, we've used these hearings to put issues in front of you that are very important to our constituents and constituencies. So as you prepare the rules in final form, I hope you've been listening. I hope you'll listen today to the issues that will be raised, and I urge you to respond honestly and directly, as I know you will. Congress has given you an extraordinary amount of authority and responsibility to write rules to govern these markets. But with that authority comes the responsibility and the expectation that you will keep at the forefront the prevailing issue facing the country: economic growth and job creation. We can achieve a robust regulatory regime without imposing undue or ill-fitting regulations on businesses across the country. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, has acted on some issues that this committee has raised. In light of the unrealistic timeline established by Dodd-Frank, the Commission has finalized an order to extend the effective dates, provide much needed certainty to market participants, and additional time for rulemaking. Unfortunately, we have not seen similar responses on most of the concerns that have been raised in this hearing room. The Commission has given us little reason to believe that the clarity and scope of the regulations will improve, nor is there any indication that proposed regulations which are overly burdensome or counterproductive in their current form will change substantially, or that they will not bring economic harm. And frankly, I don't believe anyone in this administration can provide an honest assessment of what the cumulative impact of these regulations will be for the end users, for liquidity in our financial system, or for our competitive position globally. With an unemployment staggering at more than 9%, we need greater accountability from you, Chairman Gensler, and from the administration, that you at least have a handle on the impact of these regulations will have on our economy and the functioning of our financial markets. If we don't think the statutes give you the flexibility to address the concerns raised today, I urge you to indicate that clearly. And I urge you to balance the need for modern regulations with common sense policy that differentiates between farmer cooperatives and Wall Street firms. And as many of you know, the CFTC has turned the corner in the implementation of Title VII. They have moved from proposing rules to implement the Dodd-Frank Act to finalizing the regulations. So it stands to reason that the moving parts of these regulations are starting to settle into place. Parties that will likely be regulated should know where they stand. And our committee continues to hear from stakeholders that say they have received little or no guidance on what the final rules will look like or how they'll be affected by them. We're hearing that despite the fact that these stakeholders are regularly meeting with you and your staff, and instead of the confusion clearing that rules become final, stakeholders seem even less sure of where they stand now than they were 3 months ago. The title of today's hearing is The View from Main Street. Our witnesses bring a valuable perspective on how financial regulation will stretch well beyond Wall Street to the main streets of towns across America, and from water departments in California to rural electric cooperatives in our congressional districts. I'd like to thank our witnesses once again for being here and bringing and sharing their testimony. I look forward to learning more about how your organizations will be affected by Dodd-Frank, and I hope that this hearing guidelines that Mr. Gensler and his colleagues will move towards a balanced approach to the regulation. And with that, I turn to the ranking member for his opening comments.